Coming up tonight in politics, the crisis hit northwest and southwest regions to begin with several sensitization campaigns running from the 22nd of June to the 3rd of July. What are the strategies adopted by Paul Tassong, head of the presidential reconstruction campaigns? Details in this edition of the news. Cameroon is laying off 317 workers to better manage her staff. This is based on several financial upheavals as a result of the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the mandatory wearing of face masks and respecting barrier measures are gradually losing its steam in the economic capital of Cameroon, which is badly affected by the outbreak of the coronavirus. Those are top stories. Thanks for watching. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television. I am Josephine Bindzi. As announced in the headlines, the national coordinator of the presidential plan for the reconstruction of the northwest and southwest regions has begun a 2-week sensitization and awareness campaign in the 2 English-speaking regions. The exercise is the first move of its kind since Paul Tassong and team were installed in April 2020. Details with Peter Nsosi.
Although hostilities are yet to end between Cameroon state forces and armed separatists in the northwest and southwest regions, Paul Tassong Jukang says the campaign, aimed at reaching out to the beneficiaries of the reconstruction project, will afford his team an opportunity to highlight the development plan. Between June 22 and July 3, 2020, the national coordinator of the presidential plan to reconstruct and develop the northwest and southwest regions with his team will hold a series of meetings and engage with stakeholders. For 12 days, they will outline processes and mechanisms for the implementation of the plan, as well as define the methods of organization and support for the various beneficiaries. They will also ensure ownership of the plan by the beneficiary population. Paul Tassong and Donatus John were installed in April as National Coordinator and Deputy National Coordinator of the Presidential Plan for the Reconstruction and Development of the 2 English-speaking regions. They have a mission to rehabilitate about 350 schools, 115 health centers, 49 bridges, 40 power plants, 500 kilometers of low-tension power points, 600 kilometers of rural roads, 45 markets, 12,000 houses, 25,000 hectares of farmland, and re-establishment of close to 3,000 personal documents lost in the conflict. A financial agreement to the tune of 9.8 billion francs CFA was sealed between the Cameroon government and the United Nations Development Programme in March 2020.
The National Assembly has today given a green light to the President of the Republic to strongly condemn further manufacture and import of locally fabricated tobacco due to the threat it poses to the health of Cameroonians. The plenary session was in the presence of speakers of the National Assembly, raising other health-threatening issues to the Cameroonian population. The Cameroon Airlines Corporation, Cameco, has begun a technical layoff of 317 workers. This move is aimed at alleviating the company from difficult financial situation worsened by the coronavirus. We remain with you, Peter Nsosi.
The decision to technically lay off 371 workers of the Cameroon Airlines Corporation, Cameco, comes on the heels of a financial crisis hitting the airliner, a situation that has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is a response to a request from the Director General of the company urging the board chairperson Jean-Ernest Massinangale Bibehe to visa the laying off of non-essential staff, accompanied by a monthly balance subsidy of 2 billion francs CFA in the event of continual operation during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to a decision signed by the company's Director General Louis Ponjipenji on the 19th of June 2020, the suspension of the said contracts, renewable if necessary, extends from June 22 to September 21, 2020 and cannot exceed 6 months. Though the board chair has okayed the laying off proposal, the monthly balance subsidy of 2 billion francs CFA has not been permitted due to ongoing budgetary reforms. With this move, Cameco hopes to reduce its heavy spending for a company having a 35 billion francs CFA debt on its neck, with 4 out of 6 aircrafts grounded with technical problems, and with the Boeing restructuring plan still elusive.
And let's talk negligence on the streets of the economic capital. The fear of the novel coronavirus seems to melt away as the COVID-19 keeps increasing. Here in the economic capital, Douala, transporters seem to get more and more negligent as the need to wear face masks and respect barrier measures is no more obligatory. More with you, Oni Ladonet.
Transporters in the second most contaminated city in the country seem to be indifferent in regards to respecting barrier measures, despite the increasing number of COVID-19 cases in Cameroon. The need to wear a face mask or respect social distancing is no longer obligatory, but an individual's choice. Face mask is no longer relevant. Some wear it while others don't. I have kept mine. I wore it in the morning, but removed it because it's suffocating, but I will wear it later. It's compulsory we carry 2 people with their face mask. It's compulsory. We do carry 1 passenger, but carrying 2 doesn't pose any problem as long as they have their face mask on. Now with customers, when a customer comes without face mask, we tell them to wear their face mask. When they refuse, we don't have a choice. Since they haven't reduced the prices of petrol, we are forced to carry them like that without face mask. This negligence has been blamed on the inability to make ends meet when these measures are being respected. We are calling on the government to come to our aid. Carrying 2 passengers, they say, is a problem. When we carry 1 person, we cannot make ends meet. So what's the suitable way we can respect barrier measures and make ends meet? According to these transporters, in order to fully adhere to the sanitary rules prescribed by authorities, sanitary gadgets like face masks, hand sanitizers have to be made affordable by the government. What we are proposing to the state is the government should either help us with small amounts of money that can help us. But we know the government cannot help everyone with money. But the government can also help with some COVID-19 kits like face mask, soap, hand sanitizers. So every day we can change our face mask so it can reduce the cost of getting them. Because face mask cost 1,300 francs, the one produced by Sikam. Even a shirt at Marché Central costs 1,000 francs and face mask 1,300. The face mask produced by tailors at home do not help protect us against the coronavirus. Despite the laxity experienced, users of this system of transport have called on all to unfailingly wear their face mask, as it not only protects one from the pandemic, but also from other contagious diseases like tuberculosis. It's good to enter a taxi while wearing the face mask. When I'm outside, I am free, but when I'm inside a taxi, it's good I wear it. It helps to prevent other diseases, not only the COVID-19. One can get tuberculosis while in such a confined space. It's not only for COVID-19. Even if there's no COVID-19, people should always have their face mask on so as to prevent other contagious diseases.
The Red Cross Association in Yaoundé has reached out to orphans and children in a sensitization and donation campaign to enable this group of vulnerable children to assist them in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. The non-respect of barrier measures against the coronavirus is increasing at an alarming rate across some markets in the economic capital. A lot of people are seen in public places without face mask nor respecting social distancing measures. John Paul Sama visited Marché New Deido here in Douala and put together the following package.
The business of face masks has and is witnessing a downturn as no one seems to be buying them anymore, like this seller recounts.
Le masque, si je vendais à 300, même 500, mais aujourd'hui, si c'est pas à 100 francs, on ne paye pas.
At Marché New Deido here in Douala, people no longer put on face masks as recommended by the government to fight against the COVID-19. It is the laissez-faire attitude adopted by the government, in my opinion, when they said bars should be opened. Here at this market, people only wore face masks when the police went around to check, but for a while now, they've not been out here, so no one wears it anymore. Clients, just like vendors, adhere to very few of the preventive measures prescribed by the government. The reopening of schools and the ban on bars lifted is reflecting negatively on how people carry out commerce in markets these days. People no longer wear face masks. When clients come to my store without one, I urge them to put it on. But most make me understand that the disease is no longer there because children are now going back to school and everything seems to be ongoing normally. I think the government should really wake up from slumber and sensitize people more on this pandemic and wearing of face masks. Sellers exchange money with buyers, touch goods with unsanitized hands. Even the bucket, soap and water provided them seem to have been abandoned with no one washing their hands before getting into the market. To some of these women, the coronavirus pandemic is behind them and life continues as before, regardless of the over 10,000 cases recorded in the country so far.
The International Music Day or World Music Day was observed in the city of Douala by some Cameroonian artists yesterday amidst the rising numbers of the COVID-19 pandemic. They think the global pandemic cannot automatically silence their voices as they seize this opportunity to motivate Cameroonians to believe it will certainly come to an end. John Paul Sama says some had time to hang out at a jazz club and now reports.
It is an international music day like no other, as the coronavirus pandemic has ensured that concerts and celebrations around the globe are halted. To commemorate this day, some veteran Cameroonian artists and journalists, in the strict respect of barrier measures, couldn't let this day go by without celebrating music. From renowned Cameroonian artists taking to the stage, to journalists, and other music lovers. The day was marked by songs and laughter as the artists lament on the restrictions brought in by the virus to add to their poor living conditions as musicians while hoping for a better tomorrow.
Elephants and pangolins now enjoy full protection in Cameroon after the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife has classified all species as Animal A category. The move, which comes 14 years after the last exercise, involves a variety of birds, reptiles and animals. Details with Peter Nsosi.
In an earlier classification, only elephants with tusk weighing less than 5 kilograms were fully protected, alongside the giant pangolin. The small pangolin that was formerly a Class B species, signaling partial protection, now moves to Class A for total protection as well. As a consequence, the judicial sanction for the killing of some elephants and the small pangolin were lenient on culprits, encouraging many to indulge in the illegal activity. The Cameroon government is taking steps to boost the protection of elephants and pangolins at a time when these species face grave threats from poaching for their tusk and scales respectively. A 2015 Worldwide Fund for Nature Wildlife Survey revealed that the protected areas in the southeast of Cameroon had lost over 60% of their elephant population, while hundreds of kilograms of pangolin scales have been seized at the Douala International Airport, being smuggled out of the country by traffickers. Alongside elephants and pangolins, several species of monkeys, including the agile mangabe and the hoist monkeys that previously only enjoyed partial protection, have now been fully protected, significantly increasing the punishment for their killings. Meanwhile, the highly threatened African grey parrot has moved from Class B protected bird to Class A. The decision by the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife comes 14 years after the last classification was made in 2006. In all, 43 wildlife, including aquatic species, were placed in Class A, alongside 59 birds and 17 reptile species. According to Cameroon's wildlife law, anyone found at any time or anywhere in possession of a whole or part of a live or dead protected wildlife species is considered to have captured or killed it. The defaulter will be punished with an imprisonment term of 1 to 3 years and with a fine of about 3 to 10 million francs CFA.
The Minister of Communication, alongside the Minister of Public Health, with the support of the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, have today organized a workshop in Douala for media professionals on the sensitization of the novel COVID-19 pandemic, with the main aim to strengthen the knowledge and capacity of press men and women in the responsible treatment of information with a human rights-based approach. It will be stretched to other regions of Cameroon, as explains Christel Asexwele.
The call to respect certain human rights principles related to the management of health emergency, as well as ensuring the protection of the most vulnerable, has triggered the urgent need to develop a media approach to communication on the COVID-19 pandemic, which numbers continue to rise in Cameroon. It's in this light that the Minister of Communication, along with the Minister of Public Health, with the support of the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, organized this day in Douala a 2-day sensitization workshop to strengthen the knowledge and capacities of media professionals in the responsible treatment of information with a human-based approach. According to Sandrine Ngodi, Regional Delegate of Communications for Littoral, communication related to response to the coronavirus disease is crucial. As communication professionals, it's advisable to make the population understand that the coronavirus disease can affect anybody, especially the most vulnerable in the society. We equally have to respect the private life of the patients. The workshop participants were gathered into groups to comply with the measures taken by the government to stop the transmission of the coronavirus. Chairing this workshop, the National Programs Officer for UNICEF, Fonui Kiven, reiterates the importance and role of the media in the fight against this pandemic. He states that communication is vital and must create the perception and awareness of the disease, as well as give correct and adequate information to the population to adopt appropriate attitudes and behavior. northwest and southwest regions, Ngaoundéré, East, Adamawa, North, as well as extreme North journalists and media professionals selected will equally benefit from this training.
On our international page, Washington, D.C. is gradually easing out of its COVID-19 lockdown measures as non-essential businesses start opening for locals and tourists. This is how residents and tourists in D.C. say how they feel about the reopening in this VOA report.
The wharf, a popular spot by the Potomac River, used to be filled with locals and tourists before the pandemic hit the U.S. Today, as the nation's capital starts to slowly ease out of the lockdown, people are back, though there are no crowds and everyone seems cautious.
People might still get sick and we might have a second wave, and I also really want to make sure that people are getting the economic opportunities that they deserve and that people are getting taken care of. So it's a mixed bag, I imagine.
D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser said on June 17th that after 13 days of sustained decline of community spread, she expects the city to move to phase 2 of reopening in just a few days, which will allow gatherings of 50 people and many non-essential retail stores, restaurants and places of worship, among others, to reopen at 50% capacity.
That we are trending in the right direction in each of these. Community spread at 13 days, low transmission rate we have achieved, positivity rate we have achieved. Also for sufficient health care capacity we have achieved, and we are trending in the right direction for contact tracing.
Michael Obindu is from Nigeria. He just graduated from Howard University with a master's degree in finance. He says he feels grateful, especially after 3 months of strict lockdown, when businesses were shut down and unemployment skyrocketed.
But the fact that we're getting there is really, hopeful for people like me, recent graduate, looking for jobs and stuff like that.
Khalid Bengalem drove to D.C. from Florida with his family and says it is unusual to see the city so quiet, especially in the summer.
And I'm used to D.C. being busy with people. When we came in, it was like not a lot of people, and we felt kind of safe actually. Especially with things going on in Florida with the spike, and here everybody, they had their mask and they taking the distances, which was great.
Bengalem's daughter Hannah has just finished her freshman year, and like most students, had switched to online learning in the last few months.
And it kind of gets lonely when we're at home, but the teachers still get to post stuff, and we do learn. But it's not the same face-to-face.
And while people seem to be venturing out more and enjoying the warm weather, most still prefer to take it easy, unsure of what the pandemic still has in store. Keita Kostrezi, VOA News, Washington.
And that is a package we put together for tonight's edition of the news. Thanks for watching us, and keep watching STV for more interesting programs. Stay tuned with Renee Nassis Moto for the news in French language at 8 p.m. Good night.